What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live training. It's your boy Juan Geronimo, and welcome to Passive Income with ATM's Facebook group. Guys, we have a special live for you guys tonight. Tonight, not only are we going to go over the ATM business and how you can achieve financial freedom, build a vehicle to financial freedom, but of course, we have a special guest for you guys. He's an OG. He's a legend in the ATM business, and you guys are going to get to meet him here shortly. But in the meantime, guys, go ahead and comment down below what city and state you guys are tuning in from, whether you're Texas, California, New York, doesn't matter, guys. Go ahead and comment down below. And in the meantime, while I let the live go ahead and, do its thing, we'll go ahead and shout some of you guys out. So in the meantime, guys, go ahead and comment city and state that you guys are watching from, and we'll start the live here shortly. I already see Texas in the comments, Seattle, Washington. Shout out to you guys. Carlos, shout out to Carlos. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and let the live, kick in probably for a couple more seconds. In the meantime, everybody that is just now tuning in, go ahead and comment your city. Go ahead and comment your state. Now, also, guys, if you guys are watching live, which I know I have a couple of you guys, go ahead and comment live right now. Go ahead and comment live. Let me know that you guys are watching live. And for everybody watching the replay, do not worry, guys. We are literally answering everybody. It doesn't matter if you're watching a replay. So comment replay if you're watching a replay. And, of course, we're going to be here to answer. Shout out to Carlos De Leon, my boy Austin. All right, guys. Couple more seconds, and we'll go ahead and tune in and get the live started. Shout out to everybody on TikTok, as some of you guys already know. I go on live on TikTok as well. TikTok doesn't see the whole, the whole share screen and everything like that. But you guys are still here, part of the live training. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, shout out to everybody that's commenting. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move straight into it. We're not going to waste no time. I know a lot of you guys are here to see our special guest. I know a lot of you guys are here to, learn all the little sauce that we got here for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and bring on our special guest. Now, our special guest, like I said, guys, he's an OG in the ATM business. A lot of you guys may already know him. You guys may not, but definitely whenever I started my ATM business, this is one of the ways that I found out about the ATM business was from him. I was able to start my ATM business and, ultimately get motivated by his content. He is a legend in the ATM industry, played hundreds of ATMs nationwide, not only for himself, but for clients. Here you go, Austin Lewis. Welcome, Austin. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, brother, man? How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Everybody, Austin here. Austin, of course, this is my Facebook group. Thank you, guys. Thank you for, being able to jump into the live and, dropping some value for the people, man. It's always appreciated when, you take some of your time to share some knowledge to the people. So thank you, 100%.
Man. And thanks to you, man. I appreciate you bringing me on, honestly. The world works in a very mysterious way. I haven't really been really honestly in the business so much like I used to be. For those of you that don't know me or haven't seen my YouTube videos that have been all over the place, and a lot of people started the ATM business because of my YouTube videos that I was making in 2019, 2020. In 2020, we had one of the fastest growing ATM companies in the United States. I accidentally got into it because my business partner called me one day and he said, "Hey, bro, our barbershop," we went to the same barbershop. He's like, "A barbershop needs an ATM. The ATM, because they're an all cash barbershop." And I said, "Okay, great. Well, I don't know anything about ATMs. I don't know where to buy an ATM. I don't know what the heck to do." Long story short, ended up finding finding a vendor to buy an ATM from. This was I think it was like early 2019, if not the end of 2018. And I bought the machine. I think I bought the machine for like $3,500. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, ATMs do not cost that much. Anywhere from, you can get an ATM for $2,500 to $2,700 on average. I paid $3,500. They came and installed it. They looked at us and they said, "What do you want the surcharge to be?" And we looked at them like, "Surcharge? What the heck is a surcharge?" And because again, at that time, there was no videos on YouTube about the ATM business. That was irrelevant. And we ended up installing that ATM machine. and we were earning $200 to $400 a month every month on the month. And what we did, and of course, we had no idea what we were doing, right? We had no one to teach us about this business. I didn't have anybody to help me in this business, and we stuck 10 grand in this ATM machine. 10 grand lasted us a long time. We ended up doing our taxes for the business, and our accountant goes, "Hey, what's this like 300? What's this 400? What's this $600 a month deposit you guys are getting?" And I have no idea. Come to find out, it was actually our ATM. And once we found that out, that was months after we installed it in the location. Again, we still had not had to fill it because we stuck $10,000 into this thing. And back then, haircuts were $20, you know, so, or $15, $20 with a tip. So we would just get $20, $20. And it was literally insane. Once we did that, obviously, I ended up scaling the ATM business in our personal portfolio. Quickly found out that that's not what I wanted to do. And what I mean by what I didn't want to do, Juan, and you and I've had this conversation multiple times. But first and foremost, before I even jump into that, dude, I love your community. What you are doing is absolutely incredible. I've been scrolling through your Facebook group and just seeing how many people that you've helped get into the ATM business and start earning some passive income. And I don't want to say passive income because there's two different things. There's two different terms. There's residual income and then there's passive income. Passive income is what you do by doing zero work, but doing it only one time. Residual income is by having to redo it over and over and over again, but still getting a residual income every single month, which is what I was doing. So if you load your ATMs right now, or if you were going to load your ATMs, then you're going to get into the residual business. That's not the business I want. That's a business of a job. You know, you and I've talked about it multiple times. We're here for passive income, right? So finding a company, us, for example, to come to and actually load the machines for us. That way it's completely hands-off, and you then now just bought time. And time is the most expensive commodity in today's world. So that's just what I wanted to say, bro, is honestly, hats off to you for what you're doing in this group. Obviously, all the people that are helping each other and helping hands in this, it's a really cool movement. You know, I've missed it so much, and that's part of the reason why I'm looking to get, you know, kind of more like socially back into the ATM business. Instead of, you know, telling you guys about the middle part of that story, because I've been in the business for, you know, like almost 5 years now. You know, where I'm currently at and up to date right now is I have one contract with 67 locations. So that's obviously been insane. And you guys are like, one contract with 67 locations. What do you mean? I have 67 dispensaries. One contract, 67 dispensaries, 2 machines in each dispensary. These dispensaries are growing substantially, if you guys aren't familiar, all across the eastern side of the United States, and states that are medical and states that are medicinal. So again, it's literally been insane. I made that connection from another connect, and that route right now is worth. Me and my partner just did the evaluation the other day. Probably like 1.8 right now is what that 67 route is worth. And of course, the majority of people would say, well, why wouldn't you sell now? Now's the perfect time to stick $1.8 million into our bank accounts and then diversify from there and then just rinse and repeat. And the honest answer to that is just timing. You know, I mean, a lot of people right now in this United States are scared. A lot of people are afraid that cash is going away. And at the end of the day, cash is not going away. You know what I mean? They may say it's going away, but this is not, I promise you guys, this is not going away tomorrow. You know what I mean? This is not going away in 6 months. They're not going to just be able to switch us to this digital currency and get rid of this. Like, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, time is valuable, yes, in this business. And obviously, the faster you get to growing your actual ATM business, the better off you and I will both be. Because again, at the end of the day, there's so much opportunity out there in this business. There's so much opportunity for you to go out there and attack the goals and dreams and things that you are actually looking for in this business. Juan, is there anything specific that you wanted me to talk about? Or do you just kind of want me to spit out some things and answer some questions or comments or anything like that?
Yeah, no, and first I want to, say thank you for the kind words about, my community, the group, and everything like that. I really do appreciate it. But I mean, usually when I bring on my special guests, I like to always start off with a couple questions. You already pretty much answered probably some of them that I was gonna ask, but I always like to ask, what started you, or what made you start the ATM business, which of course you already started. And one of my next questions is, how has the ATMs helped you with your entrepreneurship journey, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all entrepreneurs here. So the ATM business, I always like to say that it's a vehicle to financial freedom, meaning, it's another stream of income. So, how has the ATM business helped you in your entrepreneurship journey?
100%. At the end of the day, the ATM business has opened a lot of doors for me. I'm not going to discredit the ATM business whatsoever just because I'm not so social publicly about it, right? I've met incredible individuals and I've made a ton of money. You know what I mean? I mean, where else can you be put into a position, right? I didn't go to college. I'm not the shiniest marble in the box, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm just going to be flat out honest with you, right? But when things make sense, they make money, and that's just as simple as it gets, right? So for me personally, getting into the ATM business honestly changed my life. One, because it got me on social media extremely heavy, and I owned a marketing company prior to it. Two, I learned how to raise capital. I learned how to raise money. I learned how to invest. ATMs is all about investing. And then the last thing, honestly, I learned how to eat shit. And I'm sorry for my language there, but I'm just being flat out honest with you. I have lost so much money when I got into this business because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have somebody to teach me, or I didn't have free videos, or I didn't have a course or anything like that. Dude, I lost thousands of dollars. Honestly, to be totally transparent with you, I probably lost over $100,000 in this business. And people are like, well, why? The last YouTube video that I literally just posted is something that I want to obviously reiterate to people, and like my biggest recommendation. And honestly, like I was probably one of the most hated ATM guys in the community. One, because I was so big on social, and two, because my videos would kind of mess some people up that were trying to sell or trying to, finagle their way into whatever it is they were trying to do with their groups or people or whatever else. But at the end of the day, I just was flat out honest with people, because I don't care what people think about me. And that was my fault for losing over $100,000. Now, again, I understand a lot of people can't lose $100,000 in this business. Some people are like, yo, I don't want to do that. Well, how do I do it? You pay attention to a community. You pay attention to a group. Watch a few YouTube videos. Go purchase a $300 course. It's out there. You know what I mean? I wish I would have done that, but I didn't do that. And back then, 5 years ago, that wasn't available to me. So I wish I would go back and kind of, again, I'm the type of person, when I dive in, man, I go all in. I go all in. And that's kind of where, I failed and failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. But I'm the type of person that I don't give up. I'm not going to give up. And now, because of not giving up and that business itself personally, I've had crazy connections, crazy conversations with large companies. And I've been able to learn a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily know how to do if it wasn't for the actual business itself. I wouldn't have the business partner that I have right now in the business. He's an absolute animal. He built a company in 6 months. Okay, he watched one of my YouTube videos. He's an ex-military guy. He watched one of my YouTube videos. He had a conversation with me almost every week, building his ATM route. In 6 months, he built it, sold it for over $2 million. Where else can you do that? A lot of other businesses with, he didn't go to college. He's not the shiniest marble in the box, right? He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he went out there and did it. I have one contract that I landed because of somebody that I knew. One contract that will forever change the course of my life. Now, again, is $1.8 million retirement money? For some people, yeah. For me, it's not. And again, I have a business partner, so I'm only going to get half of that, right? But is that going to be enough money for me to then go restart and reinvest into doing it and going and selling a business for $5 million, $6 million? Absolutely, right? But that's not my goal in this business, and that's not my goal with where my business is right now. We want to cash flow $150,000 a month, continue to grow the network. the dispensaries that I have, the particular company that I have, they're landing location. They're getting locations left and right because, dispensaries, I mean, they're money machines, man. One, they're
Sorry to bother. I was gonna say those are a lot of the locations that everyone wants to target. But what I always tell people, beginners when they want to start the ATM business, because a lot of people that are starting the ATM business, they hear that dispensaries are the golden nuggets, right? They're the gold mines. That's what everyone wants to target. But I want to also get people to understand that dispensaries, they're a good plan for someone that has a lot of funds available to manage that ATM, right? Because dispensaries, I mean, Austin, if you want to give a little bit of a background on the ones that you currently have, dispensaries, I mean, how much money do they go through, whether it's a weekly or monthly basis on average? I don't personally have one, but I'm glad you do, because a lot of people they're always want to target dispensaries because of course those are the cash cows, right? But they don't get what comes with it, right? The management when it comes to the money. So in other words, you would have to hire a third-party vaulter. But if you don't want to hire a third-party vaulter, can you give the people kind of an average of what they go through, just so they can get an understanding on how dispensaries work?
I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like I am a brutally honest individual. I don't load ATM machines. The second I had about 50, 60 machines personally myself that I spent, and Juan, right? That I spent loading, and I just remember it being like week 2 of having that many ATM machines and also running my other businesses. I just looked at myself and I said, I just bought myself a job. I want people to experience what I experienced in the ATM business, and that was not buying myself a job. I was down to give a little bit of the income from the ATM machine to somebody else to have that headache. I wanted to go sit on a beach in Hawaii and drink, you know what I mean? Some strawberry daiquiris and have a good time and not have to worry about loading an ATM machine with 40 grand and hoping it doesn't get a freaking bill jam. I'm not interested in that. Any location, I don't care if it's a barbershop, I don't care what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I will never load an ATM machine, and I recommend you not do it either, because you're just buying yourself a business and you're buying yourself a job rather than buying yourself passive income. You're getting yourself into residual income, which residual income is great. You know what I mean? Residual income is fantastic. You go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. You quit going to work, you quit getting what? Paid. The second you stop loading the ATM machine, that ATM machine stops producing. Well, passive is having a vaulting company, okay, a vaulter, that will actually go out there, maintenance the machine. I know majority of people, it's hilarious, but when I talk to people back then, and still today, like when I do have those one-off messages that I get on Instagram, and they're like, man, I'm loading my ATM machine. Why do you say not to load my ATM machine? Look what I'm doing. I see his ATM. I'm like, dude, that thing is dirty. That ATM machine is disgusting. And he's like, wait, what do you mean, bro? I'm like, dog, you're maintaining your machine. You should see our crew that goes out to these dispensaries, bro. Dude, the entire thing looks like it just got it looked like you just installed a new machine. They bring Windex. They bring all this stuff. They bring the air guns. Majority of people that load their ATM machines right now, they don't bring air guns to their ATM. So they don't clean out the box. They don't clean out the ridges and all that. They don't clean out the top of the machine. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You guys are setting yourself up for success. And if you don't want to do that, then why wouldn't you have somebody else do that? Like, I'm just being brutally honest with people. People are like, man, it sucks. I got a bill jam at my busiest location. I got to go take off time to go to work or go something else and go do that. Why don't you have somebody else do that? You know what I mean? And obviously dispensaries range, right? I mean, you can go get dispensaries in Oklahoma City. If you guys aren't familiar with Oklahoma City, there's a dispensary on every corner. Your dispensaries are going to produce like barbershops do. Barbershops are lucky to make you $250 a month, unless you get lucky, okay? Unless you get lucky, right? I get it. There's different areas and different things like that that you can be in that are all cash or whatever, non-busy, 8 chairs, 16 chairs. It's all very relative to the circumstance of what that particular barbershop or whatever is, right? But again, a dispensary in Oklahoma City is luckily maybe going to pay you $150 a month, and you're going to get it vaulted. So now you're really only going to take like $75, $80 a month from that particular location, right? So that leads me into, honestly, true thing that I'm gonna be preaching from here on out and moving on. This is what I made a YouTube video on, is go for the home run locations. One of them can change your life. And what I mean by that is I had one location that I had that was producing very good revenue each and every single month. And that's when I had my mentor, and I was strapped. I was like pretty strapped for cash, right? I was making enough money to pay for my bills and do my things from one ATM, right? From one ATM. And I said, how do I get out of this rat race? And that is the first time I had a mentor say, Austin, you should sell your business. And then all of a sudden it went, ding, sell my business. I'm making $5,000 a month from one location. What do you mean I'm going to sell this, right? And he said, well, how long is the contract? I said, it has 7 years left. He said, dude, you could sell that for 36 months. $5,000 a month times $36,000 or 36 months. What did I put in my pocket? I don't know the math, right? 5,000 times 36. He wrote me a check for $180,000. Ladies and gentlemen, I just went from having maybe 10 grand in my accounts at any given time and making $5,000 a month to pay for the bills with one location that was giving me nothing but high hopes. Boom. I just got a check for $180,000. What did I do with that? I then reinvested into a lot more than just one ATM machine. You know what I'm saying? So again, this business is so many people think so differently. They're like, hey, I'm super excited for that $80 a month income. And I'm glad you are. You just shouldn't be loading that ATM machine. And again, all of your ATM machines are going to be averaging out because you're going to have locations that do really good. You're going to have locations that do really shit. You're going to have locations that do very mediocre. But again, at the end of the day, it's just about growing the route. But my thing, what I tell people is go for the slam dunk, dude. Go hit a home run. Go hit a home run. Go hit a home run, and it will absolutely change your life, literally forever. You know what I mean? So that's what I say about dispensaries. I would never load a dispensary. I think somebody's in the chat right now saying he's got four locations and they go through 100K a week. You know, I just, there's no way. I just don't want to load. But that's me, right? That's my life. I don't want to go load ATM machines. If somebody else wants to go do that, they can go do that. It just depends. It just depends on, you know, what it is that they're looking for, you know, in the business. I got into the business to make true passive income. You know, I don't want to worry about the ATM machines. I don't want to worry about going and loading it or sitting in traffic and doing all of that. I'm just being real with people. You know what I mean? I'm down to listen to a podcast, but there's a lot better time I can spend and make more money doing than going and driving around and listening to a podcast to load an ATM machine, to stick $4,000 in an ATM machine. I'm just being honest. The money that you have, the money you have loading in the ATM machine, if you invested that money, you would make way more money.
Yep. And that's something I want to get into about, you know, the way you built your empire, right? I know you already talked a little bit about it, but I wanted you to, in a sense, touch base on you know, vaulters, right? How vaulting goes, how you can go about with vaulting, right? A lot of people think that you can start the ATM business and it's a lot better to, you know, take care of the machine on your own, which in my opinion, it's okay when you're starting off, right? Get the gist of the business, get to fill it out, right? That way, when you start to hire people, you know exactly how it should go, rather than you kind of going in blind and hiring potentially someone that's going to end up screwing you over. So I always tell people, especially when starting brand new, to start with one machine on their own. And then later on, if they have enough funds, they can go ahead and invest their money and then hire a third-party vaulter, which will allow them to scale a lot quicker, right? Which is, in a sense, kind of how you went about it with your empire that you've built. So can you give a little bit to the people about vaulting services and what to look for, what not to look for when it comes to that side of the business?
I mean, honestly, transparently, vaulting services are just finding somebody that you like, trust, and respect. You know what I mean? I don't typically use independent loaders because independent loaders don't care. It's not your machine. I like to use vaulting services or a company that is willing to vault for other individuals. And again, you know, they have great relationships with their clientele, and they might be private loaders, and those private loaders, do a fantastic job. Like I said, those particular loaders, they take care of the machines. It's never left empty, or if there is a bill jam, they're right there on the spot, right? There's times that you need to reset the ATM or so forth, right? So I mean, just getting with a vaulting service. Again, a vaulting service isn't going to vault your ATM machine if it's making $80 a month. They're not going to vault your ATM machine if it's making $120 a month. You might get lucky and get a private vaulter through a company like that, but majority of vaulting companies aren't going to do that just because there's no money in there. They don't want to sit and drive and listen to a podcast for $40 a month or $80 a month or $120 a month. You know what I mean? They don't want to pay gas. Again, why? Like, there's so many. If you really did the math, and you have an ATM machine making you $150 a month, and you're loading it twice a week or twice a month, you're probably spending, depending on where the location is at, one, you're spending time. It probably takes you however long to drive and get that. And then two, you're spending gas money to be able to go do that as well. I mean, you're kind of averaging out. So what the heck is the point? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, again, it goes back to locations. And that's why I tell people now is like, go for the home run. Go get locations that are baller. Go get locations that are badass. Be very picky. Like, walk into a business and, all these business owners, it's hilarious because people are like, oh my God, dude, there was a time I have YouTube videos. I'm not lying about this. I have videos of me in negotiation with these guys and them being like, well, how much is the surcharge? I'm going to say $4. They're like, okay, well, I'll get half. I'm like, what do you mean you're getting half? No, you're getting 30 cents if you're lucky, bro. Let's see how this thing does. And then it does, and then it crushes it. And then I do a freaking phone call with them and I say, hey, you did 140 transactions this month. $4, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? We're gonna agree to the 30 cents that you're gonna get paid. Give me a voided check and a W-9, and then we'll go ahead and ACH that into your account. And then moving forward, you're gonna get 35 cents. And they're like, well, no, you're making some more. I'm like, hey, listen, bud, I just put an ATM machine that costs almost 3 G's in there. Okay, 1. 2, I had to hire a vaulting service. 3, I had to get it loaded. Okay, and 4, I had to hire somebody to come out and do an Ethernet cable to be able to connect it to Wi-Fi or a Wi-Fi box, whichever one people use. I put a topper on top of it so it would make it look sexy. I did your business a service. You really aren't doing me anything other than providing a 12 by 10 inch spot in your thing and some electricity, and the ATM maybe costs $1 or $2 a month. Okay, so no, you're not going to get 30 cents. You know what I'm saying? So again, at the end of the day, go get those great locations. Go get those locations that are going to make you some money. Focus on locations that aren't going to close out. Again, barbershops are fantastic, but the average barbershop, Google it. Average lifespan of a barbershop. Okay, it's not very long. It's very unfortunate, right? I didn't get into this business for short-term money. I got into this business for long-term money. So again, I'm very picky. I was very picky. And that's why I think I succeeded so much, to be honest with you, is because I was very picky. And I am today even more picky about the locations. If it's not going to be an absolute banger, I don't want it. I don't want to risk myself. What am I going to do? Ship an ATM to Texas, install it, and it does 0 transactions? Okay, what's next? What do you want me to do, Juan? Drive to Texas, pick up the ATM machine, and haul it back to my house or my office? I'm not interested. You know what I mean? I need a sure deal, and a sure deal is what's going to make sure money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the way you look at this business is starting off with a great location, because at the end of the day, there's always a solution to a problem, right? If you find a location out of state, it's a banger location, you can always find a third-party vaulter, right? So, which is definitely a great idea, right? It's definitely a great idea. It's how you're going to be able to scale a lot quicker because you're outsourcing other people to do the harder job for you. So definitely a great idea. The way I started my ATM business, for everyone that's watching, that is new to the lives, for those of you guys that are just new to the group as well, my name's Juan Geronimo, and of course I started on my own, right? And I'm sure, Austin, you started on your own as well. When you did start, you were vaulting your own machine. So what I always like to say is, it's okay to start on your own. It's okay to start on your own, because at the end of the day, the ATM business, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You're not going to start making thousands of dollars right away. So if you have, less than 10 grand and you want to invest into the ATM business, you could always start on your own, fill your own machine up. But if you really want to scale, if you really want to, think outside of the box, think like an entrepreneur, take risk, it's always going to be best to, invest into other people, right? Or network. Your network is your net worth. So invest into other people that are willing to help you scale, right? And that means hiring a third-party vaulter, hiring someone that's going to manage your ATM so you can focus on scaling your business, which is another option, is actually one of the best options for you to scale your business. So definitely a great way to start your ATM business. That's how Austin was able to actually build his empire, right? He didn't manage, all the ATMs he had. He outsourced people to do it for him. And that is how an entrepreneur thinks, right? At the end of the day, the biggest risk is not taking any risk, right? Not every business is going to work, right? Not every location is going to work. That's why we always like to say, especially in the ATM business, location is key. That's why Austin himself is saying you have to, go after the baller locations, the locations are going to do great numbers, because at the end of the day, if you end up biting more than what you can chew, you could always outsource a third-party vulture. So definitely like that. Hope you guys are learning from the live. I hope you guys are learning from Austin. But Austin, we always do a Q&A during our live training. So we always like, to ask the people some questions, have them comment some questions. And then in a sense, we go back and forth with them. So if you're up for that, we can go ahead and do that. Have the people comment some questions that they have about the ATM business, automation, whatever the case may be. And then, of course, as long as, or if you're willing to answer some questions, we can go ahead and get that started.
Let's do it. I'm down for some Q&A if anybody has any.
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and start a Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and take a 30-second break, Austin. So I'll go ahead and put a little quick 30-second timer so the people can go ahead and, start getting their questions ready. But for everyone that's watching right now, if you have any questions about the ATM business, about vaulting service, anything that you guys have regarding the ATM business or revolving around the ATM business, feel free to start commenting them right now. I'm going to go ahead and start a 30-second timer, and we'll be back in 30 seconds, guys. All right, Austin. All right, let's go ahead and go to the comments real quick. And I also got TikTok opened up as well, so we can always answer some of the questions from TikTok. Let me see. All right, Austin, I have an answer for this, but I don't know if you want to go ahead and answer this. This question says, if you don't have the capital up front, how can you get started? How can you get funding? What's your take on that, on funding?
Go get the money. Go find the money. There's plenty of there's plenty of companies, the great ones out there. I know Juan works with one. I work with one as well. That goes in, you can get 0% interest APR for 12 months or 15 months or 20 months. There's a couple different companies out there that are like that. All you got to have is just some decent credit. And you can then, use OPM, which is other people's money. Then you can leverage that profit. I've done that. I'm about to redo that, to be totally honest with you. My credit's fantastic right now, and I've been working on it for the last 5 years. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply on this for this company. They're going to get me 15 to 20 credit cards, obviously in the max limits that I can get at 0% interest for a minimum of 12 months. I'm going to then look at how much capital I have, spend that much capital, and then every single month I'm just going to pay off the minimum balance that's due, and at the end of the 12 months it'll all be paid off, and what I will have purchased or what I will have bought it or invested in will be 100% free at the end of the 12 months.
Exactly, guys. Leverage funding, leverage credit. Credit is very powerful when it comes to entrepreneurship, guys. If you guys have great credit, highly recommend you guys to look into leveraging your credit, right? Investing your time into learning, about the best credit cards to use, or funding, or loans. Some of your guys' banks are probably willing to lend you guys some money at low interest rates, right? So always leverage credit if you don't have the funds available to invest into your ATM business. Let me see. How much do you need to start the ATM business? What I like to say is, you always, if you want to start the ATM business and you want to manage the ATM on your own, you need about $6,000 to $9,000. That's already purchasing your ATM, filling it up with cash, starting your LLC, all that good stuff. If you're willing to buy a route, Austin probably knows a little bit more about this, investing into routes, ATMs that are already established. Austin, you want to give them a little bit of some information on, actually investing into a route that's already established, how much people are looking to invest into an ATM on location currently?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously it's a very hard question, right? You can get as low as, you can start as low as 5,500 bucks, $5,000, somewhere in there, and it can go all the way up to 15 million.
Yeah. So it just depends. The bigger the route, guys, of course, the bigger the cost is going to be. It all depends on the locations. It all depends how the ATM is doing. Buying routes is always a great way to start, because you already have, in a sense, not guaranteed, but guaranteed cash flow, right? You see that a location is doing $300 a month. You already kind of, in a sense, have an estimate on how the ATM is going to perform over the course of the contract. So, you could always do that. Any more questions, guys? Let me see. Let me check over here on my TikTok. Where do you buy ATMs from? So typically when you're buying ATMs, you always want to work with an ISO, an independent sales organization, someone that's, can provide you not only ATMs, whether it's wholesale price or after their, little hidden fees, convenience processing fees. And then, you want to also work with someone that can also provide processing. You want to work with always someone that is, in a sense, a one-stop shop, right? You're going to be able to get everything from them. How can I find a route? You could find a route, honestly, on Facebook. There's a bunch of ATM groups on Facebook that you can go ahead and join. And believe it or not, there's people all day selling routes, right? There's people putting ATMs on location and willing to sell what they currently have. So you can find them on Facebook. You can find them, Craigslist, OfferUp, anywhere you can find routes, ATM routes. There's always going to be people selling their business.
You and I always know.
Yeah. Austin can get you connected all day long with any routes, anywhere you want to look. How do you check if it's not a scam? So, of course, whenever, and Austin can probably answer this a little better. We spoke about this the other day over the phone. Whenever you work with someone that's selling you a route or selling you an ATM currently on location, you always want to work with someone who's reputable, right? Someone you can trust. At the end of the day, you don't want to invest your money somewhere you don't know, right? You don't just go online and pay for something, put in your credit card information. You always do a little bit more research on what it is that you're purchasing, what it is that you're investing in, right? So, Austin, how many routes have you sold in an average? You don't have to give the exact, but when it comes to selling routes, like, how do you get people to, in a sense, although you've already have a great name, right? You already have an established social media following. How did you get people to trust you in the beginning process of selling, routes or ATMs currently on location?
I mean, obviously, one, numbers don't lie. Two, we're professionals. We've been doing this for how long? And again, I did what was called back in the day ATM automation. It was like $7,000, and people could come to me. I would go, our team would go and find them a new location, install the ATM machine, provide the loader, put an ATM topper on the top of it, and get things rocking and rolling for them. And it would generate them some pretty decent cash flow on a monthly basis. They wouldn't have to worry about it. They wouldn't have to manage it. They could see it. They could see the profits on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, in their back office, right? That's one way to do it. The second way is then obviously having a route. For example, like I had a route that was $5,000 a month. I was then able to pull, 6 to 8 months worth of reports of me actually taking home $5,000 a month. And then whatever the contract length is. I mean, there's a lot of variables that it comes down into when it comes to buying a route, right? And then at the end of the day, contracts. I mean, contracts are there for a big reason, right? I'm a big advocate on contracts. That way I feel good, you feel good, you know what you're buying, you know what you're getting in there for, you know the risk and everything else. And then rock and roll. Five-year contracts is actually really funny. Depending on the state, I learned this the hard way. Depending on the state, some legally, right? Legally, if you were going to, I just saw a chat in the thing right there. 5-year contract minimums. Depending on the state, 5-year contracts actually might not actually hold up in court. So the average is actually 3 years. So you definitely have to check out, obviously consult with an attorney. That's what I recommend. Individuals consult with an attorney on, how long a legitimate, I know the state of New York that you can, 5-year contracts are a joke. They'll sign a 5-year contract, but it'll actually be in 3 years, and then they'll come ask you for some money again, because they know it will never hold up in court. You do try to pursue any legal actions with them, you'll just be wasting money. Now, again, it depends on the location, it depends on a lot of things, but that's just something to obviously keep in mind as well. You might land a five-year location contract signed, but it might actually only be 3 years. And majority of these people that sign these 5-year contracts, they know a little bit more than you do at that point, But yeah, contracts at the end of the day, when you're purchasing a route, you know what you get, you know what you're getting, you see the reports and whatnot, right? And again, there's a million different ways to do it. You can go with the minimum, purchase an ATM, get a professional to put it into a location, have them do their due diligence, and whatnot. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's really what I have to say about that particularly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I mean, I see that is pretty much almost all the questions that we're getting. We don't have many. That means probably we've answered majority of people's questions. But again, for everyone that is watching the replay, if you do have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. Even after this live here is posted on the group and you're watching the replay, we're still watching the comments. So for everyone that's commenting, even during the replay, feel free to do so. We're always going to be able to answer your questions. But Austin, I mean, we've been on here for about 40 minutes now. As always, I always try to stay under an hour, but we always end up hitting an hour. So if, is that everything that so far you got for the people? Because pretty much we're pretty much done for tonight's live. It was a great one. I like to stay up under an hour because, again, people don't have all the time in the world to be on here. I see another question. Let me see. I see oh, shoot. Best way to get in business. Oh, we got a couple questions. Okay, we got a question. You probably know the answer to this better, and I'm sure you've already answered this. You said about 36 months, but do you sell 24 or 36 months overall?
Again, it just depends on it depends on the buyer, it depends on the seller, it depends on the location, it depends on the contract length, it depends on the cash flow. I mean, a lot of people that I know, they sell for 18 months, get a good deal. Some people sell for 11 months. Some people sell for a calendar year. It just depends on what somebody's risk is, really what they're willing to do. The only reason that, we're really able to sell, for example, our ATM route for, I think we're going to sell it for 28 months, is, it does have 10-year deals in it. And these particular locations have 15-year leases. So 15-year leases, that's signed, sealed, and delivered. 10-year locations, they're also in states that, allow us to do contracts like that. We've then obviously consulted with our, attorneys and whatnot, and kind of signed, sealed, and delivered that deal. That way it's also incredible. And then obviously in some of them, we're starting to do the credit card processing, which is just fucking unreal, about what's about to start happening in some of these locations. So, there's a lot of variables. That's why I love the ATM business. There's so many variables, and you have to do your due diligence, and you have to, I have people come to me like, hey, Austin, I have this, what's it worth? Boom. What can you find a buyer? Can you not find a buyer? Yada, 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 right? I have all of that all of the time. And I can do pretty much any of it, but that's why I love the business so much, because it's so different all of the time. A dispensary in California might be only worth, $5,000, $7,000, or a dispensary in California might be worth $25,000. Or 250 grand. I've bought in all of them. You know what I mean? I've seen all the different, variables. You know what I mean?
Awesome, awesome. Well, Austin, I mean, thank you again for your time. Thank you for, dropping all the value for all my people here in our group. I appreciate you as always. Definitely won't be the last time we offer to bring you onto our live. They will be seeing you a lot more often. Again, everybody that's watching the live, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for interacting with us, asking you guys questions. But pretty much, Austin, that's going to be it for tonight's live. I'm gonna go ahead and just pretty much end it off with a little bit more information on my program and everything like that. Other than that, boss, thank you so much for tuning in, man. I appreciate you for taking your time to, drop a bunch of value, and definitely we'll see you next time. Won't be the last
Absolutely,
time.
Brad. I appreciate you, man. Juan, you're doing fantastic. To all the listeners and all the viewers that stayed here, thank you so much. Obviously, anything that Juan and I can do for you, we are here for you. We're a community. We're here to help each other. I'm here to grab your hand and help you any which way, shape, or form that I could ever do. My social media is just at the Austin Lewis on Instagram, TikTok, and obviously Facebook as well. I commented in here. You guys will see me in here. I'll post some things. Anything I can ever do to help you, Juan, and your community, dude, is an absolute blessing. So keep me in the back of the mind when you have a struggle, when you have a problem, when you have a question, when you have any of that. Dude, pleasure. Keep crushing it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
We got you, boss. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live. It was a bunch of value. Austin Lewis, as some of you guys, again, may already know him. He is a big name when it comes to the ATM business. I actually found out about the ATM business through Austin Lewis. He was one of the guys that I've ran into whenever I started looking on YouTube and all that good stuff. And that's, someone that I've learned from his content, right? Because like he said, back in 2020, 2019, 2018, there wasn't a lot of information on the ATM business. You couldn't just go on YouTube. You couldn't just go on Google and get information on the ATM business. Just now, as of the last two years, 2.5 years, is when, information, videos, and, ATM gurus started to pop up online, right? So, having someone like him pretty much show us the way on how to start your ATM business, and now getting to this point where you can actually reach him, reach out to me, and have us help you start your ATM business. I mean, we've definitely come a long way. So again, guys, thank you to everybody that's tuned in to the live trainings, and of course has asked any questions. But before we go ahead and end it, I want to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of information on our program, how we can help you get started. As some of you guys already know, you could go either on your own, or you can always invest your time, your money into a mentorship program and get started the easy route, the more efficient route. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of our program, what it is that we offer, and ultimately how we can help you start your ATM business. So at the end of the day, guys, when it comes to starting your ATM business, there's 4 pillars that you guys always want to make sure that you knock out of the water, right? Number 1, you want to form your company. Whenever you start your ATM business, you have to form a company, right? A company, your LLC, is what's going to pretty much hold you in a sense, liable and not liable for certain things, right? Your LLC is what's going to protect you and your personal assets when starting this business, right? Or when starting any business in general, right? So company, LLC, EIN is number 1. That's what you should always look into when starting a business. Number 2, you always want to start the bank account, right? Whenever you start the ATM business, and this is for everybody that's new, for everybody that's new to the group, and for everyone that's watching right now that's already heard the 4 pillars, don't worry, we'll get into the good stuff in just a second. But for everyone that's new, your bank account is pretty much number 2. That is what you need in order to, of course, receive all your funds, right? Receive the income that you're going to get from your ATM machine. Whenever you start ATM business, whether you're maintaining the ATM, you're filling it up with your own cash, or you're hiring a third-party vaulter to vault your ATM for you, you need a bank account for those funds to go to, right? You cannot use a personal bank account. And the reason why you can't use a personal bank account is because whenever you use a personal bank account, number 1, there's certain banks that already do not work with the ATM business. So if you use a bank account, number 1, those banks will find out quick. Or number 2, if you're working with a bank that doesn't mind an ATM business, but you're doing it under a personal account, they're going to red flag your account and shut you down. Now, I've gone through this myself. I know a lot of other entrepreneurs, ATM entrepreneurs, that have gone through this. Even some of my students gone through this that said, hey, I've been banking with Bank of America for a couple years now. I'm sure they're not going to close my account. I have a great relationship with him. Literally a couple months later, he comes back to me and tells me, hey, they shut me down. So at the end of the day, guys, whenever you're opening up a bank account for your ATM business, you always want to work with a bank that's willing to work with you. Typically, credit unions, smaller banks in your area, Comerica's, bank, PNCs, city banks. Those are the type of banks that you always want to target. Now, after you set up your bank account, you're pretty much ready to build a relationship. At the end of the day, your network is your net worth, guys. You always want to build a relationship with a processing company, and you want to work with a processing company that is going to provide you free, unlimited processing, guys. There's a lot of companies that will charge you processing fees, and then there's companies that will, tie you up under a contract. You always want to work with a company that's willing to give you free processing, unless you've built a different relationship with them where they're going to do certain things for you, and then you're willing to give them a split, right? But after processing, location. What we just talked about right now, location is key. When you start the ATM business, you always want to work with a great location, because at the end of the day, the better the location, the higher your ATM is going to generate you, right? If you work with a location that is in the middle of nowhere, it doesn't get no traffic, I mean, come on, you should expect that the location is not going to do anything, right? So always work with the location that is going to do phenomenal, or in a sense is doing great numbers when it comes to foot traffic, right? But those are your 4 pillars, guys. Those are your 4 pillars when it comes to starting your ATM business. Now, let's go ahead and get into our mentorship program, what it is that we offer. We currently offer a done with you program where we pretty much teach you everything from A to Z on starting your ATM business. So if you're someone that wants to start the ATM business and you want to start the ATM business on your own, right? You want to start off on your own. You want to be able to learn the business model, understand it, know how to install your ATM, know how to fill it up with cash, change your receipt paper, all that good stuff, learn the software within it, then our program would be a great fit for you. With our mentorship program, we offer you a step-by-step online course where in the course alone, you're going to learn how to apply for your LLC all the way up to literally installing your ATM. You're going to learn the whole 9 yards, guys. Besides our online course, you're also going to get access to our clients only group. Our clients only group consists of all my students in a group where I'm going to contact everybody as a whole. This is where I'm going to let everybody know what's going on in the industry, whether there's any new updates, whether there's any special discounts we have going on, any new rates on the ATMs, internet, whatever the case may be. This is where I'm going to keep everybody in the loop that are part of my program. Besides that, with my mentorship program, guys, you do get included a brand new ATM. So for everyone that knows or doesn't know the ATM or the Hyosung Halo 2, this is the ATM that I personally work with, and you see me posting in all my pictures and videos. This ATM right now is probably the best and most reliable ATM in 2023, and in a sense, the best bang for your buck. Hyosung Halo 2 is the ATM that I recommend everybody to work with as a beginner. Very easy to use, very modern looking, and like I said, the best bang for your buck. For this ATM and internet box alone, you're looking at about $2,700 after tax. But with my mentorship program, you do get one included as well as the internet box for that ATM. The only thing you do have to cover, of course, for the internet box is $6.99 to keep your internet working. But besides the internet box and the ATM, we provide you with an unlimited processing, pretty much the processing company that I told you about. We work with free unlimited processing, so we don't tie you up under no contract, and we provide you free processing. We also do an ATM programming training with you, where we'll actually jump on a call with you, walk you through the whole programming on how to get into the software for your machine, program it, enter keys, all that good stuff to get your ATM up and running. That way, from here on out, you can continue to do that on all your ATMs. After ATM processing and ATM programming, we provide you over a dozen PDFs from ATM contracts all the way up to brochures, sales scripts, qualification questionnaires, and a lot more, guys. And last but not least, guys, our bread and butter, our location service, right? When it comes to the ATM business, you always want to have a location in line ready to go, right? And what better way to find locations than to hire someone to do it for you? With our program, we give you free unlimited location finder service for a full year. So everyone that enrolls gets locations. You can fulfill however many locations you want in a whole year just by being part of our program. So at the end of the day, guys, location is key. We help you find the best locations possible in your area or even out of state. If you're someone that, for example, wants to go the route where you you find a location, you hire someone to do it for you. You can even find locations out of state. So if that's something that you want to go ahead and do, we can help you out with that. At the end of the day, we're here for you. We're here to help you win, and it's all up to you whether you want to go ahead and get started, guys. So that is our program. Again, if you guys want more information on that, go ahead and comment plug down below. That's PLUG. Go ahead and comment plug down below, and we'll go ahead and send you a message and get you started with a quick 10 to 15 minute informational call, give you a little bit more details on our program, the price and all that good stuff, and see if we're a great fit for you. But with that being said, guys, thank you to everybody on my TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everybody that is watching right now. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But that is pretty much it for tonight's live, guys. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys 30 seconds to ask your last questions. But if you guys don't comment any questions, we'll go ahead and end it. And I'll see you guys for sure next week on Tuesday. So go ahead and comment your questions real quick. I'll give you guys